there. We are expecting that chance of showers in the forecast as we wait for this front to move in today. Then once the front is clear by tonight and tomorrow, you'll notice a change in the forecast already. By Wednesday, it'll be tolerable, but then it'll be straight dry going into Halloween. Last year, we had a Halloween high of 85 degrees. That was near average, but it was very humid. Then 2023, we actually had record heat. So a refreshing change will be in the forecast with highs only reaching the upper 70s for our Halloween, and lows trick-or-treating will be in the 60s. That'll be wonderful. Unfortunately, though, all eyes on Hurricane Melissa as winds are 175 miles per hour. We've been talking about the system at the top of the hour. Again, the only thing that changed in the 5 a.m. advisory is that it has accelerated, moving to the north-northeast at 5 miles per hour. Still expected to be catastrophic, life-threatening, and destructive hurricane that's going to move over Jamaica, eastern Cuba, and then eventually southeastern Bahamas. The flash flooding, the biggest concern. We're expecting the storm surge 9 to 13 feet. As we go into tomorrow, we'll be talking about eastern Cuba getting the system. And then by Thursday, we'll be talking about the southeastern Bahamas. If you want to head to the beach or do some boating, there's a low risk of occurrence for beachgoers, boaters. The bay is at a light shop. 7-day forecast. Our forecast looks spectacular. We get through today and look at this. Lows in the 60s for Halloween, and we fall back. We get that extra hour of sleep with lows in the 60s as well. Have a great day.
Excited for that for Halloween evening, South Florida. How delicious to be outside in the 60s while you're trick-or-treating, not sweating.
Now, after slamming into Jamaica, Cuba is expected to be Melissa's next target. At least 4 regions there on the southeastern coast are on high alert. We've learned that hundreds of thousands of people are already moving into shelters there to prepare for dangerous wind and flooding. Guys.
Have got so much to talk about as it pertains to Hurricane Melissa, and as you can see right there, a live look at what that storm looks like. The 5 a.m. advisory came in about 90 minutes ago, and as that storm strengthens into the significant Category 5, we also learn, and fortunate to know, that it is speeding up, maybe only incrementally, maybe only slightly, from about 2 miles an hour to about 5 miles an hour. But Julie, that makes all the difference.
Yeah, especially because of how strong the winds are going to be for such a long period of time for our friends in Jamaica, Eric, Michaela, South Florida. Already Montego Bay, where we have Aaron, winds are gusting in the 50s. Kingston, winds are gusting in the 40s. We have 31-mile-per-hour wind gusts from some buoy data. And you can see just how large the system is, just about to make its way onshore over the western edge of Jamaica. Now, the system is expected to only continue to strengthen as the winds bring those downpours, brings that storm surge, and wind speeds expected around 70 miles per hour as we go into the 9 o'clock. And then, as you can see by Black River, we're talking 100 to 110 mile per hour wind gusts. And the problem is they're going to have all day with these wind gusts. Montego Bay, 90 to 95 mile per hour wind gusts around 11 a.m. This just updated because I did have this a little bit earlier of 100 mile per hour winds around 10 a.m. And that's where we're going to be seeing that eye wall start to move on shores over the western half of Jamaica. But again, the whole island is under the threat for catastrophic, life-threatening conditions with this system. We have it moving to the north-northeast at 5 miles per hour. Latest advisory winds of 175 miles per hour. It is located 115 miles west-southwest of Kingston, Jamaica. You can almost see on the satellite where the actual eye wall was pretty stalled, and then it started to take that jog and jumping more towards the north-northeast. And so that's going to play a big part in the forecast. The projected path has the system making landfall later this morning into the afternoon hours. It's still over Jamaica as a Category 5 hurricane. Then it makes landfall over eastern Cuba and then possibly making landfall over the southeastern half of the Bahamas before making landfall possibly by Bermuda as we go into the end of the week. All right, our biggest threat is going to be the flash flooding, the storm surge 9 to 13 feet. Again, we are not even going to be able to recognize some of these areas in Jamaica with the catastrophic rain and the storm surge that's going to occur, unfortunately, in the island. As for eastern Cuba, they're expecting storm surge 7 to 11 feet, and even going into the southeastern Bahamas, 4 to 6 feet of storm surge. So the wind field of this system, you can see the hurricane force winds do start to move in. I want to back this up just so you can pay more attention to it so you understand the timing of this system. Is we're expecting the wind fields to start to feel the actual hurricane force winds as we go into the later half of the morning. We're talking right now it is 6:30. So let's go back, because we're expecting the actual eye to start to make its way onshore. Remember, to actually make a confirmed landfall, it has to be the center of the eye wall of the hurricane. Take a look right over Black River, right over Montego Bay. We're talking 10, 11, 12, watch, they still are dealing with hurricane force winds going until 4 o'clock this afternoon. And then we see those tropical storm force winds as we go into the later half of the day and into this evening. So again, there's a lot we have to worry about for our friends in Jamaica, in parts of Cuba, and across the northeastern half of the Bahamas. I'm going to have a lot more on all this. We're going to check in with Aaron, and I have your local forecast because a cold front's headed our way. Coming up.
Alrighty, South Florida, taking a look at your roads here. The good news is you guys don't have any major accidents here, but you do have some congestion here in the turnpike. Things starting to build up for you across the board. Right here, you are taking a look at Southwest 288th Street. Bumper to bumper traffic in those northbound lanes. That is no fun. You can always take US 1. Take a look at your maps here. You can see that US 1 is a better option for you. You already see things building up in this area. Take a look at all that red. It's definitely not fun to sit in this, but if you take a look at US 1, you've just got some slight delays, but nothing too bad, not as bad as 7 miles per hour. A little further north, you are seeing some delays heading southbound on 95. This is near Ives Dairy Road. You can see that things are slowing down to 16 miles per hour. Starting there as you approach the Golden Glades interchange, you're seeing some heavy delays as well. That'll only get worse as the morning progresses, so definitely consider that as you head out the door. You can always take 441 if you see that the congestion is pretty heavy on 95 in those southbound lanes. The Palmetto Expressway going southbound is starting to pick up here. You can see that the numbers have gone up. They were in the 20s, now they're in the 30s. Be safe out there.
Annaliese, thank you. I want to start with Local 10's Jackie Pascale joining us now in the studio with more on the conditions that are stretching all across the Caribbean at this point, Jackie.
Yeah, those conditions are just deteriorating more and more as the morning has gone on. The wind getting stronger, that rain heavier as well, and it's only going to get worse as that eye makes its way closer to the island nation. Devastating conditions are expected to last into tonight. Now, in Melissa's track after Jamaica is Cuba. Hundreds of thousands of people there are moving into shelters to prepare for the dangerous wind and flooding that will come with this storm. Landfall predicted for Cuba late tonight. It will still be a major hurricane at that point, so many hours to go until then.
A lot we're tracking right now. Thank you, Jackie. Meanwhile, we know that this storm is moving very slowly. It got very big very quickly. The question is, what happens next? How much further does it have to go before it reaches Cuba and then eventually on?
Well, we'll start with Jamaica. It's about 115 miles, Andrew, just west, southwest of what we've been talking about for much of the morning, for it being the center track of Kingston, Jamaica, possibly making its landfall in that vicinity by Black River as well. These two areas we've really been highlighting. The other thing you'll notice on my satellite is for much of the morning it was stalling out, and then slowly it starts to move more towards the northeast. That acceleration is only at 5 miles per hour, but we'll take it because the less it stalls out, the less of it becoming stronger and stronger and intensifying. So as of the 5 a.m. advisory, winds are 175 miles per hour. Pressure 901 millibars, again moving northeast at 5 miles per hour. That acceleration has the system possibly making landfall around 9-10 o'clock this morning over the western edge of Jamaica. But again, this system is such a monster. It's a beast. The whole island is dealing with Category 5 issues from this system. It's catastrophic. It's life-threatening. You've heard us talk about these things since the National Hurricane Center has basically sent out the advisory, getting closer to this day. And unfortunately, we are talking about areas in Jamaica that we may never be able to recognize again, especially with the storm surge that's going to be such a big threat. Then the system stays very strong as it moves over eastern Cuba, and even staying strong as a Category 2 hurricane by the Turks and Caicos. Bermuda could actually deal with a Category 1 hurricane with this system. So the system is going to be something we're going to be talking about for days, months, and recovery could take years for Jamaica, unfortunately. As of this morning, right now, the Melissa's winds are at 38 miles per hour from Montego Bay. That's where we have our live reporter Aaron. Winds gusting in the 50s. We have 33 mile per hour winds at Kingston with winds gusting in the 40s. So all eyes on the system as we're expecting rain forecast, 2 feet or so of rain, flash flooding, landslide, storm surge, 9 to 13 inches along parts of 9 to 13 feet, along the southern edge of Jamaica. And then you can see expecting 7 to 11 in southeastern Cuba of storm surge, more flash flooding, more rain. And that's really the story with this system. As for the actual wind radii, you can see that hurricane force winds extend out from the center, making its way in towards Black River just around the next hour or so. And even our reporter Aaron will have to deal with the possibility of tropical storm force winds as we go into the next hour, as our wind radii does have the system continuing to bring battering winds and rain for the whole day for Jamaica before it moves over eastern Cuba and then again moving in towards Turks and Caicos and Bermuda. So wind gusting forecast, we've got winds gusting in right around 100 to 110 miles per hour in the matter of the next hour and a half for parts of the Black River rather, and Montego Bay, 70-mile-per-hour winds. Then the system continues to stay with winds gusting well into the 90s and even the 80s for hours upon hours, battering this poor island. So for us here in South Florida, we have a complete opposite forecast. We have the cold front headed our way. Wait until I have those details for you coming up.
Alrighty, South Florida, 7:36. Things are getting very busy for you out there. Right now, we are taking a live look at I-95 right here. This is near Hollandale Beach Boulevard. You can see those southbound lanes moving very slowly. Your northbound lanes look a lot better for you. But if you are heading south on 95, this is what you can expect. We can take you to your maps. You can see you're starting to see lots of pockets of red in those southbound lanes. Let's take you a little further north up here. As you head northbound near Sample Road, you are seeing a pretty big pocket of red as well. Something to consider if you're heading out the door, heading that direction. You can always take Powerline Road if you'd like to avoid this. Another area we're seeing some delays because you guys are accident-free, Miami-Dade County. This right here is the turnpike going northbound. That is just a lot of red as you approach Southwest 152nd Street. You can see things moving as slowly as 14 miles per hour. US 1 also seeing some small delays here as well. So typically I would advise you to take US 1 because you don't want to sit in all that red, but you're also dealing with some delays there. So definitely give yourself extra time if this is part of your commute. Let's take you over to drive times. Those of you who take the Palmetto Expressway, things getting even busier a little further up into the 30s here of how long it's taking you to get into these two areas going southbound. Northwest 154th Street to the Dolphin, 38 minutes. I-75 to the Dolphin, 39. Be safe.
Other stories we're following.